Okay, in this video we're going to talk about three types of 3D in Illustrator. The first one is Extrude and Bevel, Revolve, and then Rotate. You can find these up under Effect, down to 3D, again Extrude and Bevel, Revolve, and Rotate. We're going to start with Rotate. What we're going to do is we're going to click on this object, and this is a simple compound path. Notice that it's not multiple objects, it's just a single object. We're going to go under Effect, 3D, and we're going to rotate. We're going to pull our options up over here. Notice that we have options for rotation around the x-axis, rotation around the y-axis, rotation around the z-axis, and then perspective. We also have some shading, which we'll go over at a later time. Okay, we're going to start off by grabbing this and just kind of moving it up. And make sure you have preview clicked. So notice it did that. We can rotate it around some if we want. Go to the outer edge, rotate. We can push up and push in any direction we want. Rotate it back around, however we want to do it. So the inner edge allows me to just grab and just freehand it. This outer edge here, notice it changes to a cursor, allows me to rotate in place. And then we have the nice little transformation. And I notice this is flat, and that's because it's a simple outline. There's no perspective or anything like that. What we're looking at now is called an isometric projection. In other words, there's no perspective on the screen. If we wanted to add perspective to this image, we would just mess around with our perspective dial, and notice as I'm taking it up, it adds a little perspective to it. So that's a good way to work with perspective and just to rotate a simple flat 2D object, but do it in a 3D space. So if we click on it, notice that our original outline is still here, because this is an effect which you can find if we look over here in our appearance panel. Right there it is, 3D rotate. We can turn it off, we can turn it back on. So we can completely control it. All right, moving on. This is basically just a series of shapes. If I ungroup it and I click on them, you see that it's just a bunch of different shapes that I've grouped together. And we're going to talk about the Revolve. So we go up under Effect, we go down to 3D, and we're going to look at Revolve now. Now, Revolve, if we turn on a preview, it creates a nice ball for us. And we can zoom it around. And notice the wireframe as we move it around. Well, that's pretty cool looking. And we'll set it there, and of course we can change all of our perspective things. We can also change the angle of the rotation. See how that looks totally weird? Down here, ooh, it cuts it off, so we get some nice cool pie effects. So playing with the angle is one good way to do things. Let's set it back to 0 here, or 1. There we go. All right. So as you can change this angle, it just does all kinds of cool stuff. 360 degrees takes it back to full. And let's say I just want a 10 degree. Okay, notice a little bevel here. Let's go 90. Let's see what that does. Now we have a nice little chunk. You can see that here. Let's go to 180. And we have a half circle. Didn't mean to hit return. So it's best to just double click on this. There we go. Click on my preview again. Let's go to 270. Have a nice little chunk here, and 360 degrees takes us all the way back a full circle. Okay, so we'll deal with these at a later time. Offset we'll deal with at a later time. Anyway, this is a nice, quick, and easy way to do a circle. And if you like it, you click on this and make sure your preview is clicked. It turns it off every time. I want to see the top of it more. You can just change it at any time by going in your appearance panel. All right, now we have what I call just a shape. I'm going to surprise you with it. You can probably figure out what it is. But I'm going to take, and this is just a line I drew with the pen tool. I'm going to go and grab my scissors. And I'm going to chop about there. I'm going to cut there. Let's move on down. I'm going to cut this anchor point and this anchor point. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to color these lines different colors. So let's make this line an orange. I'm going to make this line a silver. Grab the big line and I'm going to turn it yellow. Then I'm going to make this, a little lighter orange maybe, and leave that black. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to group these because it has to be grouped. I'm going to go Effect, Revolve, Preview. Now, notice what it's done here. It's done some kind of weird, crazy thing. Let's change it from left edge to right edge, and now we have a pencil. Simple pencil out of that shape. We can rotate it around. Notice the wireframe as we do it. We can turn it around. We can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. Notice our angle is 180 degrees. You know, we can change that if we want and get a weird pencil shape. Like, notice it's just half. I type in 360. It fills it all the way around. So we have a nice, even pencil. Now notice sometimes in a 3D effect it can cause weird things like this, and basically my recommendation to you is just rotate it until it gets to the way you like it. Alright, so let's take this and let's do the last one on it. We'll go to Effect, Extrude and Bevel, and let's take a look at this. Let's go ahead and move it up a little bit. Let's preview it. Notice now we're getting that nice bevel on the outside here. So we've got a little depth to it. We can change its perspective just like anything. We can change the depth of the extrude, maybe take it down to, I don't know, 30 so it's not so deep. But if you like it at 50, you can easily take it back up. Okay. This turns the cap off for a hollow appearance, turn it on for a regular appearance, and this gives you different kinds of bevels on it. Kind of messing around with that and just seeing the cool kinds of stuff you can do. You can change the height here. So let's do a classic bevel. Let's go a little crazier. Let's do a rolling bevel, see what that is. So we got some interesting parts there. Maybe complex, do something cool. Oh, that looks pretty cool. Change the height. Okay. These two, in certain instances, bevel is added to the original object or bevel is subtracted from the original object, depending on which one you do. Notice the change, though. There is a little change as you click through these. So different things give you different options. I'm going to go back up to the regular no bevel. And you've got different surfaces, too. Wireframe, no shading, diffuse shading, and plastic shading. Okay, these don't really come into effect right now because I have no shading on it. But if I click no shading, you get a flat object. Who really wants that? I'll keep plastic shading on for now. Now, here we've got more options. And here we can actually mess with the lighting. So I've got an intensity lighting of 100%, and that's this light here. I can actually add more light to it and come down here and see what it's doing. Here, if you hit Command H, you can actually, let's click OK. Hit Command H and it hides that selection. So you don't have to be bothered by looking at that little wireframe image. Let's go back into our 3D. Click on our preview. Now you can see better the lighting effect that it's had. I'm going to add one here. Just click here, add one in the middle. But I'm going to click this button here and move it to the back. Okay. So this is the lighting intensity. I've got this one at 100. And this one in the back, you notice it's giving us these little areas here. If I was to take that intensity down a little bit, watch those areas fade just a little bit, or a lot of it in this case. Okay, see as I take that intensity down, click on the one on the back. Notice light intensity is different for every single one of these that you click. Okay, I'll take it back up to 100. Ambient light is the light that is basically in the room. It's general light in the room. We're going to get rid of that to give it a nice, healthy glow. That's pretty cool looking. So we've got some real cool lighting features. We can change the highlight intensity, the more intense if you have some highlights on there. The highlight size, you can drop it down in size. And some of these it won't affect depending on what you're doing. Blend steps, shading color. You can do a custom color and change it to whatever color you want. You can do purple, get a little crazy with it, or just go back to the regular black. So this is a nice way of messing with your light. Okay, you can click OK. Command H will bring back your original. So notice it there. Again, if I hide in the appearance panel, let's click on it first. Hide in the appearance panel, goes back to normal. Appearance panel, very powerful. Well, let's talk about 3D type. This is editable. As you can see, I can type in it. I can do whatever I want. What's cool about 3D type is once you create 3D with it, it remains editable. Now I've already loaded some strokes in here and we'll see how that works in a minute. So I'm going to go and I'm going to select my spider type. I'm going to go up under Effect, 3D, Extrude and Bevel. Okay, it pulls up my Extrude and Bevel. Now I already know what I'm going to do here because I've been playing with this a while. So here I'm going to do 20, do a little 0 here, 0 here. Perspective, I'm going to take all the way up to 100, so it's going to tilt it back for me. I'm going to leave my extrude depth about the same. Light intensity, I've got 100 for every one of them. I'm going to take one and move up here. I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to move it over here. And I'm going to add one right there, and I'm going to move it to the back because I like that backlighting. All these I'm going to keep at 100%. My ambient I'm going to take down to 0. We're going to keep highlight at 60, highlight size at 9, and the blend steps are going to stay at 25. So I've got a light source at the top. Let's move this one down to the bottom. I think I'd like that a little better. Yeah, let's clean. Yeah, I don't know. Let's move it over here just. Now, here's a problem. See the Y, see the P, see how it's missing? This is a problem with Illustrator, and the way to fix that is just to go up here, like to rotation, and put a 1. You won't notice it, but look, it fixed them all right up. Easy peasy. Okay, I'm really happy with this, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now I'm going to go up under Effect, and I can apply even more effects to it. But first, I'm going to turn on some strokes. Let's look at them. Oh, there's a nice white stroke and a little lighter. Oops, sorry, turn it back off. Sometimes when you're working in 3D, it takes a little while for it to actually click. There we go. So that looks really cool. I really like that. But you know what? I'm going to put an arc on it. I'm going to go up under Effect, and I'm going to go down to Warp, and I'm going to make an arc. And for my arc, 50 is way too much. I'm going to set it to 10, and I'm going to hit OK. And we wait, and I just did it to the stroke. So if we look up here, I had the stroke selected. See, the arc is right there. But I wanted it on the whole thing. Well, that's nice about the appearance panel because all I have to do is grab that, drag it down to below the 3D Extrude and Bevel, and let up, and watch. Boom. I now have my cool spider type. Looks neat, but what's awesome is now I can change it to Spider-Man. Slowly change it to Spider-Man. And there we go. We now have Spider-Man in all his glory. But wait, there's more. Act now, and you will receive these bad banding lines. Well, how do I fix that? The answer's simple. What it is, it's strokes coming through. So all you have to do is like take one of your strokes, just make it a little thicker. Of course, again, I've got to click on it. Make it a little thicker. Wait for it to do its thing, and it'll go away. And that's it for the 3D.